In the film industry, there are many different genres that work together to create a finished and refined product. One of these such genres for film is called the rough cut. A rough cut is the first iteration of a film. It is the first step in the post-production phase of filmmaking. It is essentially a rough draft in which the producers can view the film or video in its entirety in the intended sequential order. There will be two versions of this video. One will be a rough cut, and the final cut for example purposes. Here are some important terms for this genre. The terms rough cut and final cut are often used in the video or film production industry to classify which stage in the editing process the film has reached. In contrast, a final cut, the stage that occurs after the rough cut, is a fleshed out and refined version of the film, and this is when it's ready to be distributed to audiences. The term rough cut refers to when film used to be manually cut and spliced together with tape in order to edit. Types of files. There are many different files that are used to create a rough cut. The primary file that editors will work with are video files. Oftentimes, these video files are shot in .mp4 or .avi files. There are also audio files, which are primarily .mp3 or .wav files. In addition, there are different text and title cards that are used, such as these ones. These files are all put together on the editing software's timeline in order to put together a rough cut. Rough cuts are an essential part of the film industry, although the way that they are created varies with the editor creating them, and circumstances in which they are produced. There aren't any written rules for how a rough cut has to be made, but there are some unspoken conventions to how it is generally put together. The purpose of this genre is for producers of both videos and longer films to be able to see a start-to-finish version of their production that is roughly put together. The rough cut is not a final product, but is a draft that allows for producers to see what changes need to be made. So, who creates rough cuts? Rough cuts are created by video editors in collaboration with producers or directors with the help of a script or a screenplay. Different types of editors will create different styles of rough cuts, but the goal is to put together a rough version of an unfinished product. So rough cuts are primarily used in the film industry by editors, filmmakers, and producers. But oftentimes, the public or those not part of the film production industry do not see the rough cut of videos or films, although they can often be the basis for behind-the-scenes videos or blooper videos. Basic structure. A rough cut generally is put together in a sequential order and focuses primarily on the visual aspect of the film. There is loose editing of the audio to see where certain places need music, or audio adjusting. It is about outlining the video composition that you are creating. So there are different elements of a rough cut, as mentioned earlier. There's editing software files, such as Premiere files, Final Cut Pro files, or Sony Vegas Pro files. There are audio clips, A-roll, which is what you're primarily filming, and B-roll, which is extra footage that you find either on the internet or filmed separately. And also music is optional. Genre communication. The rough cut is a genre that goes unnoticed to those audiences that are not familiar with the film editing process. Film editors and video editors should familiarize themselves with this genre and understand its importance, because rough cuts are a core part of the learning process. The rough cut genre communicates how the video is supposed to be put together. This genre takes into consideration how the audience will perceive the video or film in order to make changes that will strengthen the appeal to both pathos and logos, depending on the content of the video or film. Most videos or films use a number of different mediums to convey their content, but the most commonly used delivery mediums used in filmmaking are visual elements, such as video clips or a collection of video clips or pictures. Oral elements, such as audio, whether that be clip audio, voiceover audio, or added music. And also linguistic elements, which are sometimes the use of title cards and subtitles as a way of improving accessibility and flow. As you can see here, this is the timeline for my rough cut of my rough cut genre analysis project. You can see that the clips and audio have not been refined and there aren't any title cards or music yet. But in the final version of this genre analysis, it will be more refined and have more of a finished touch. Overall, rough cuts are a genre in film that serves the purpose of communicating a structure for the final cut. Different editors and filmmakers create rough cuts in different styles, but the overall purpose of a rough cut is consistent throughout the genre. The rough cut encapsulates the first iterations or the unrefined edits of a film or video. By using rough cuts, filmmakers are able to test out styles and creative choices, and it allows for decisions to be made about the final cut of the film. There will also be more examples of rough cuts and resources to learn more in the description.